Okay, now we're going to look at creation of new folders and new channels for DSCP 4.0. First of all, you'll see if you go in here and something is already selected, you need to deselect it. When you do that is just click on the top bar without clicking on the button, and it will deselect it. When you create a new folder, it will add it to the bottom of the folder list. When you want to create a new channel, you click on the folder that you want it to be created inside of, and if it's a subfolder, you would click on that subfolder and then click on the new channel button to create a new channel. The difference between a folder and a channel is that a folder is where endpoints are defined. So basically devices. So at any point where you want to specify the endpoints where the content gets distributed to, you should create a channel. It's not always necessary to have a channel, because sometimes the devices are not actually devices, but they might be desktops or iPads and so on, and they don't have any distribution associated with them. Channels really are only used for purposes of video distribution. Other than that, you could use folders. So there's no point in using a channel unless it's going to go to a device to which video is sent. Let's create a new channel. Test channel. Let's give it a name. Folder ID, I'm not sure what that is. Folder description, anything you like. Zip code is used solely, I believe at the moment, for the purpose of the weather forecast. You have to put that in. Anything with an asterisk is compulsory, so you need to put in the zip code. Then you have the definition of the folder, the properties associated with the folder. These also apply to channels, but folders and channels throughout a specific hierarchy have to have the same specifications for Flash or HTML and canvas size. Flash or HTML and canvas size are changeable, but that would then affect everything that's in the hierarchy. When you get to folders or channels below the top level, you're not able to change any of these attributes other than the rotation. The rotation applies only to the end point, at which point it gets rotated just prior to being at runtime. Actually, the image will get rotated 90 or 270 degrees. Everything else is the same. Even the previews and watch lives are the same. They don't do the rotation. It only applies to the endpoint. So the default is to set an HTML folder type, which is the folder type that has all of the HTML controls that are new to DSCP. You can specify a Flash, but there's not really any advantage to doing so. If you want to specify a different canvas size, you can do so. There are a number of predefined canvas sizes giving you the aspect ratios as well, and on the side showing what aspect ratio they are. The main ones being 16:9 and 4:3. If you change it to a vertical channel, you'll see those aspect ratios flip around. So instead of 16:9, it's 9:16, but you get the same selection. The default is horizontal and 1366 by 768, but you could make that larger if you want. In fact, most people would nowadays choose for the higher resolution if the display can support it, which is 1080p. So we'll do that for this example, and that's it for setting up the folder. Create the folder. You see folder created successfully, and there the channel is. That's the channel ID that's referred to when it's referenced inside of ESCP, either if you're loading it manually in a URL or inside other channels. This is an HTML channel type. Here's an example where it is flash. This is no rotation, and it's 1920 by 180 in dimension. No description there. Now if you want to nest a channel underneath that, after selecting it, you select new channel here and give it a name. It defaults to a Linux player channel, but you can select anything. Linux player and PC player are pretty much the same. The only difference they have is with respect to the way they actually play videos. Yeah, that's really the only difference. DMP is a Cisco DMP device, and WAS is the Cisco video distribution system that we're probably not going to see too much of in the future. The US Postal Service are using that. And desktop just refers to a channel that is being used solely for desktop purposes and will not have any video distributed to it. So this designation is mainly for the purpose of video distribution. You also need to specify the zip code in there, which may be different from the channel above it. And ID and description optional. Now you see over here I cannot change the flash or HTML designation. It's fixed by the parent. But I can change the rotation if I want to. So if this particular channel is going to be rotated 90 degrees, I can specify that. Other channels inside of this folder will not be rotated if they have no rotation set. Also with the canvas size, it's fixed for the entire hierarchy. This will probably change in version 4.1, where we will have a more flexible system, but for now this is the way it works. So I create that, and the channel is created, and I can go in there and edit it and see what it was before. I can make a change. If after the fact I want to change the top level, which I can do here, and make this a flash player, folder, I could do that and hit the update button, and I get a warning saying this action will update all of its children. Do you want to continue? Say yes. It doesn't actually do anything other than mark that channel as being a flash or an HTML channel. So you can always go back to where you were before, even if you have content that has been created inside of that channel and its sub-channels. There isn't really any change done to the entire system having made that change from one to the other or back again. It's a different matter though when you get to play it. If you have an HTML folder with HTML zones inside of it, and you switch it back to Flash, you won't be able to play those HTML zones because it will use a Flash player that's not able to play them. But once you switch it back again to HTML, you will be able to play those HTML zones. So similarly here, you can change the canvas size. It doesn't actually do anything when you change the size, other than when it gets to send out the content, it will send it out inside of a display canvas size of that whatever you select. So if your size was a lot smaller, you would have to go into each template and reposition it so it's not all clustered in the middle if you make it a bigger size. And similarly, if you make it a smaller canvas size, you will get some items that probably are outside of the viewing area of the canvas, and you'll have to move them inside manually if you need to resize that canvas in that way. But you can if you want to do that. And that's pretty much it for setting up these. The user accounts are the same as they have been in the past. You can add users to a particular account, and you can assign them permissions to admin, various levels of permissions for changing content within that channel. That's the end of that section.